I'm going to go over the materials that you need to make Rex. And here's just Rex. You can see a close-up of Rex right there. So I'm going to go over the materials that you need for him. The crochet hook that I used for him was the J or 6mm crochet hook. And I found that the yarn that works best for him was the Red Heart Super Saver yarn. And I used warm brown. And I also used the Red Heart Super Saver black yarn too. For his hat, the color that I used was the Red Heart Super Saver, and this is Royal. The star that I used on the center of the hat is by Leather Concho, and this is Art Minds. It's the silver and gold 1-inch star. And then for the eyes that I used, these are the 20mm Suncatcher craft eyes. For his badge, Support Our Police, believe it or not, this is from the scrapbook, Recollections, Dimensional Stickers. Here's a close-up, and you can see some of the other neat stickers that it has inside it, and I had used the one sticker. This is what it looks like on the back. But actually, you can take your tapestry needle, and it'll go right through the sticker with yarn to sew it onto the backing that you're using. And then also I made, at one of those engraving pet tags, I made his name on there. For Rex's sunglasses, I like them because they're you can move them with the craft wire and put them on his head and take them off if you want to. But the color that I used for the sunglass frame is still the Red Heart Super Saver, and I just used the soft navy color. But you could use this for the hat too if you wanted to. Or you can use the same color that you used for the hat for the sunglasses. I just like the darker blue color, and I found it after I'd already used the other color for the hat. But it still looks good. And then for the center of the sunglasses, I used the black Red Heart Super Saver. And then the craft wire that I used was a copper wire, and it's the 20 gauge craft wire. And what I love about this craft wire is you only need scissors to cut them. So it works really, really good. And then of course you're also going to need your tapestry needle for this project. Okay, so now I'm going to go over the yarn that I used for the female German Shepherd. For her I used the Karen 1 pound, and the color is lace. And I used the J crochet hook to make her, but believe it or not, I used the Red Heart Super Saver black yarn, but the Karen 1 pound yarn that I used actually made her bigger than the other one, the other German Shepherd. Even though they're the same pattern, she'll come out a little bit bigger if you use the Karen 1 pound color. And then for her eyes, the pretty eyes, you can't really tell the really light purple that it created. Is really pretty. But I used Karen Simply Soft, and this one is lavender blue. And then for her tongue, I used Karen Simply Soft, and it's soft pink, and that's the same color that I used for her paws, for her claws on the paws also. And then I used Animal Noses, the 21mm for the noses. For the ribbon on her ear, I used the Red Heart Super Saver lavender for the back, and then for the inner, this is a Karen Simply Soft, and this is soft pink. And then for the ribbon, to tie it around her ear, I just used a 1/4 inch ribbon, and this is Ofray. And for the little puppy, this is the exact same pattern that I used for the female German Shepherd, except I used the size D or 3.25 millimeter crochet hook. And then for the eyes, I did exactly the same as the female, except I used the crochet hook, a bigger crochet hook, the J size crochet hook for the eyes. And then the yarn that I used was the same thing as the male German Shepherd, the warm red heart, warm brown, and then the black. And then for the nose, I crocheted the nose. But you could use animal nose if you want. The other thing I did differently for the puppy is I made the ears exactly the same, except I used the smaller crochet hook, and then I just folded the ear down and sewed it that way. The first thing we're going to make is the snout, but as you can see, it's very difficult to see the black yarn on video, so I'm going to show you how to make the snout with a lighter color, but you're going to be following with the black yarn for the German Shepherd. Alright, so I'm going to show you with the lighter yarn how you're going to start the snout, but you're going to be using the darker yarn for your German Shepherd, or the black yarn. And the first thing you're going to do is just drape the yarn across your 4 fingers and use your thumb to stabilize, and then wrap the yarn around your 2 middle fingers twice, and then hold it in place with your pinky and your thumb. And then I'm using my J or 6 millimeter crochet hook, and I'm going to go under those 2 loops around the 2 middle fingers. I'm going to bring up a loop, and then I'm going to yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and bring the yarn through that loop for your slip knot. And then you're going to do 6 single crochet into the magic circle. So you're going to bring up a loop, you have 2 loops on the hook, you're going to yarn over and go through both those loops for your first single crochet. You're going to do 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then just take your forefinger and thumb and hold it at the base of the 6 single crochet, and then you have the 2 yarn loops on the opposite side of the magic circle. You're going to pull on one. If it doesn't pull, you let go and pull on the other, but this one's pulling, so I'm just going to gently close it as much as I can, and then take that loose yarn in and pull on that. Now you're going to do 2 single crochet into every stitch around. So you're going to go into that first stitch under both loops, and then you're going to bring up a loop, and you have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and go through both those loops for 1 single crochet, go in the same stitch, do 1 more single crochet, and you're going to do 2 single crochet into every stitch around for a total of 12, and then come back. Your work should look like this. If your center of your magic circle is still open a little bit, you can turn your work over and then just pull on that loose yarn end, and that should close up your magic circle. And now you're going to need a yarn marker, so you can either buy yarn markers or you can just use your loose yarn ends, which is what I do. Just place the loose yarn right by, or yarn scrap right where you left off. And now we're going to do an increase round. You're going to do 1 single crochet into the next stitch. And then in the second stitch, you're going to do 2 single crochet in the same stitch. 1, 2. And you're going to repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker and then come back. Go ahead and take your yarn marker and move it up to where you left off. And now you're going to do 1 single crochet into every stitch around back to the yarn marker and then come back. This is how your work should look. And now we're going to go ahead and place the nose, the plastic nose on. So you should have the black yarn that you're using. I just used the lighter color just as a go-by so you could see how I made it. And now I'm just going to show you how to place the nose, but you would place it on your black snout. And I'm just using the plastic animal nose. And you're just going to face, I would put the where you left off down towards the bottom, and then you're going to place the nose where you want it, and the little pointy triangle end points down, and I put mine right above the center of the magic circle. So here is the center of the magic circle, and the point of the nose is right above it. So you're going to place your nose, your animal nose, onto the black yarn for the snout of the German Shepherd, and then come back and I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so now I've already placed my plastic nose onto the black snout, and I can start showing you what to do with the black colored yarn snout now, because you already know the stitches. And what we're going to do, just place your yarn marker where you left off, and we're going to do 1 single crochet into every stitch around for 2 rows, and then come back and I'll show you how to join your second color. Okay, so you should have finished 2 rows of 1 single crochet into every stitch. Now I'm going to show you how to join your second color. You're just going to go into the next stitch, bring up a loop. Now you have 2 loops on your hook, and you're going to grab your second color, and you're going to hook it and bring it through. Make sure you have enough excess for tying your knot, and then you're going to go ahead and do a chain 1. Then you're going to take your yarn and then just tie a knot. Now we're going to start working with the new color, and we're going to carry the black yarn along as we work. So you're going to go into, and you can go ahead and move your yarn marker up too. Even though we change colors, that'll help mark the spot. I'll just take the yarn marker up and take it along as I need it. Now this is going to be an increase round. So what we're going to do is in the next stitch, you're going to bring up a loop. You have 2 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and go through both for a single crochet. And at the same time, you're carrying your black yarn along with you. And then in the second stitch, you're going to go up and behind that black yarn like you've been doing. Bring up a loop. You have 2 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and go through both for a single crochet. And then you're going to go in the same stitch behind the black yarn, bring up a loop, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through both for a single crochet. And you're going to repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. So I'll do one more with you. In the next stitch, I'm going behind the black yarn, bring up a loop, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through both for a single crochet. In the second stitch, I'm going to do 2 single crochet in the same stitch. So behind the black yarn, bring up a loop, yarn over and go through both loops for a single crochet, go in the same stitch, bring up a loop, yarn over and go through both for a single crochet. So go ahead, repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker, and then come back. So now you're going to go ahead and move your yarn marker up right where you left off, and you can see I'm still working with both yarn. I'm just burying the black yarn and working with the tan yarn. So now I'm going to do 1 single crochet into every stitch, still carrying my black yarn with me. And you're going to do 1 single crochet into every stitch for 2 rows, and then come back and I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so you should have finished 2 rows, and you can see how you get that beautiful speckled black through the tan, which is what the German Shepherds have. And we're going to do 1 more row of 1 single crochet into every stitch. So just move your yarn marker up, and we're going to carry the black yarn around as we go, and you're going to do 1 single crochet into every stitch all the way around for one row and then come back. Now we're done with our snout, so we're going to go ahead and do a slip stitch into the next stitch. Just go into the next stitch and bring up both yarn. So hook both yarn and then turn the hook upside down and bring it through both loops on the hook for a slip stitch. Now you're going to finish off. You're going to yarn over and hook both yarns. Turn the hook upside down and bring that through the loop to finish off. And then just bring enough yarn through to bury into your work so it doesn't come undone. And then just pull it snugly to make sure that the knot stays in. And then you have the snout completed. So now we're going to do the head. For the head, you're going to start with your lighter color, and we're going to do a magic circle. You're just going to wrap it around your 4 fingers and use your thumb to stabilize, and then wrap it around your 2 middle fingers twice and hold it in place with your pinky and your thumb. And I'm still using my J crochet hook or 6mm crochet hook. I'm going to go under those 2 loops. I'm going to bring up a loop and then yarn over and go through that loop for a slip knot. And then you're going to do 6 single crochet into the magic circle. So you're going to bring up a loop, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through both loops for a single crochet. And then you're going to do a total of 6 single crochet into the magic circle. And then you take your 4-finger and thumb and go to the base of the 6 single crochet, and then you have the 2 loops on the other side of the magic circle. You're going to pull on one. If it doesn't close, and let go and pull on the other one. And then take that loose yarn end and pull on that. And don't worry if you don't get it completely closed, because we can always close it more later. And now you're going to do 2 single crochet into every stitch around. So go into that first stitch under both loops. Bring up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and go through both for a single crochet. You're going to go in the same stitch. You're going to do another single crochet. So you're going to do 2 single crochet into every stitch all the way around for a total of 12 and then come back. Your work should look like this, and you can see that I still have a little bit of an opening in my magic circle, so I'm going to turn it over and pull on that loose yarn end to close it, and it closed up nicely. Now we're going to go ahead and place our yarn marker right where we left off. And I'm just going to keep the yarn marker. I just find it easier, even though we're going to add the second color now. So go ahead and go into the next stitch. And you're going to bring up a loop. You have 2 loops on your hook, and you're going to go ahead and grab your black yarn. And you're going to hook it and bring it through both loops, and just make sure you have enough excess yarn in to tie your knot. Then you're going to do a chain 1, then turn your work over and just tie a knot. So now we have our second color, and we're still going to work with the lighter tan color, and we're also going to be doing an increase round as we bury the black yarn as we work. So in the first stitch, we're going to go into the same stitch that we just worked. So go into the same stitch, bring up a loop with the tan yarn. So now you have a tan loop and a black yarn loop, and we're burying the black yarn as we work. You're going to yarn over and then go through both loops for a single crochet, and then in the second stitch you're going to do 2 single crochet into the same stitch. 1 and 2. And you're going to repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. So I'm going to do one more with you. In the next stitch, you're going to do 1 single crochet, and then in the second stitch you're going to do 2 single crochet in the same stitch, and we're carrying the black yarn along with us as we work. And you're going to do that all the way around back to the yarn marker, and then come back and I'll show you what to do next. Now go ahead and move your yarn marker up to where you left off, and we're going to do another increase round, and we're still going to bury the black yarn as we go. You're going to go into the first stitch, and you're going to do 1 single crochet, and then in the second stitch 1 single crochet, and then in the third stitch you're going to do 2 single crochet in the same stitch. Then you're going to repeat this pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker, and then come back and I'll show you what to do next. Go ahead and take your yarn marker, move it up to where you left off for another increase round. Now you're going to do 1 single crochet into the next 3 stitches as you carry the black yarn with you. And then in the fourth stitch, you're going to do 2 single crochet into the same stitch. 1, 2. And then repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. This is how your work should be looking, and you can see how you have the beautiful black yarn speckled through the tan yarn. Go ahead and move your yarn marker up to where you left off. Now you're going to do 1 single crochet into the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then in the 5th stitch you're going to do 2 single crochet in the same stitch, and then repeat the pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. Now we're going to do our last increase round. Go ahead and take your yarn marker and move it up to where you left off, and you're going to do 1 single crochet into the next 5 stitches. And then, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you're going to do 2 single crochet into the 6th stitch. 1, 2, and then go ahead and repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. That was our last increase round. Now you're going to take your yarn marker and place it right where you left off, and we're still going to bury the black yarn and carry it around with us. Now you're going to do 1 single crochet into every stitch for 14 rows. So go ahead and do 1 single crochet into every stitch, carrying the black yarn with you, and you're going to do 14 rows, and then come back and I'll show you what to do next. After finishing your 14 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, then you're going to go ahead and place your eyes and then sew on your snout with your tapestry needle and some of your black yarn. So here you can see how I placed my eyes, and I went from, I'll show you from the magic circle down. You go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So about 11 rows down, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches between the eyes is where I placed mine, if you want to place it exactly how I placed my eyes. And then I took the snout, and make sure that when you sew your snout on with your tapestry needle that you have your plastic nose lined up straight, and I would start with sewing the top portion on, and then sew the bottom portion along the rim, and then you can sew the sides on. So you can see how my snout looks and how my eyes look. And then we're going to go ahead and stuff and close the head. You can go ahead and stuff the head with some pillow stuffing or whatever stuffing that you're using to fill your crochet animals. And now we're going to go ahead and close, and you can stuff it more as you close, but go ahead and get your yarn marker and place it where you left off. And we're still going to bury the black yarn as we work. And what you're going to do is you're going to go do a single crochet into the next 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you're going to do a decrease. So you're going to go into the next stitch, bring up a loop, 2 loops on the hook, then you're going to go into the next stitch, bring up a loop, you have 3 loops on your hook, then you're going to yarn over and go through all 3 loops for a decrease. And you're going to repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker and then come back. I have 1 stitch left before I get to my yarn marker, so I'm going to go ahead and do just 1 single crochet into that stitch. And then I'm going to take my yarn marker and move it up. Now we're going to do another decrease round. You're going to do 1 single crochet into the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you're going to do your decrease stitch. And you're going to repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. I think you see the pattern now. We're going to go ahead and move the yarn marker up. And now we're going to do a single crochet into the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to do your decrease. And you're going to repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. Move your yarn marker up. Now you're going to go ahead and do 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches. 1, 2, and then do your decrease. And then repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. Now you're going to go ahead and remove your yarn marker, and we're going to leave a little bit of an opening at the bottom for when we sew it onto the body. So we can go ahead and do a slip stitch, go into the next stitch over, and you're going to loop or yarn over both yarn ends and bring it through both loops on the hook for a slip stitch. And then you're going to yarn over both yarn ends, turn the hook upside down and go through the loop to finish off. And then bring enough yarn to bury into your work so it doesn't come undone. And then just pull snugly to tie that knot, and you can tuck the loose yarn ends into the inside. Now we're going to do the ears. We're going to start with the tan colored yarn. We're going to do a magic circle. Just drape the yarn across your 4 fingers, then stabilize with your thumb and wrap it around your 2 middle fingers twice, and then hold it in place with your pinky and your thumb. And I'm still using my J crochet hook. Just go under those 2 loops, then bring up a loop, yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through that loop for your slip knot. And now you're going to do 6 single crochet into the magic circle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then just take your forefinger and thumb and hold at the base of those 6 single crochet, and then take and close the magic circle like we did before. and then take that loose yarn in and pull on that. Now you're going to do 2 single crochet into every stitch around for a total of 12, just like we've done for the other parts of the head. So go ahead and do that and then come back, and then I'll show you what to do next. Go ahead and close the center of your magic circle if you need to by pulling on that loose yarn strand. And now we're going to join our second color. So go ahead and go into that next stitch and bring up a loop. You have 2 loops on your hook, and take your black yarn and hook it and bring it through both loops, leaving enough yarn in to tie your knot. And you're just going to go ahead and chain 1. So yarn over and go through that loop for chain 1. Then you're just going to tie a knot onto the back. Now you can go ahead and get your yarn marker and put it right where you left off. We're going to do an increase round, and at the same time you're going to bury your black yarn like we've been doing for the rest of the project. You're going to go into the first stitch behind the black yarn and bring up a loop. You have 2 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through both for a single crochet. And then in the second stitch you're going to do 2 single crochet in the same stitch. Actually, no, we're going to do 1 single crochet. We're not doing an increase round. We're doing 1 single crochet into every stitch around, back to the yarn marker. So 1 single crochet into every stitch, and you're burying the black yarn as you go, all the way around back to the yarn marker, and then come back and I'll show you what to do next. Now you're going to take your yarn marker and move it up to where you left off. And now you're going to do 1 single crochet into the next 4 stitches, and you're burying the black yarn as you go. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then do 2 single crochet into the 5th stitch. 1, 2, and then you're going to do another single crochet into the next 4 stitches. 1. That looks like I have a flaw in my yarn. So I'm going to fix the flaw in my yarn and then come back and we'll start again from that where we left off. Okay, so I fixed the flaw in my yarn. So I'm doing 1 stitch in 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 2. So in the next stitch you're going to do 1 single crochet, second stitch 1 single crochet, third stitch 1 single crochet, and then the 4th stitch 1 single crochet, and then 2 single crochet in the 5th stitch, and then we're just going to do 1 single crochet back to the yarn marker. And then you're going to move your yarn marker up to where you left off, and then we'll start the next round. Now you're going to do 1 single crochet into every stitch around for 4 rows, and then come back. So 1 single crochet into every stitch for 4 rows. Now take your yarn marker and move it up, and we're going to do another round, increase round. We're going to do 1 single crochet in the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then do 2 single crochet in the same stitch. 1, 2, and you're going to repeat that pattern back to the yarn marker. I had 4 stitches left, and I just did a single crochet into every stitch back to the yarn marker. Now take your yarn marker and move it up, And you're going to do 1 single crochet into every stitch for 2 rows, and then come back, and then I'll show you what to do next. So 1 single crochet into every stitch for 2 rows. All right, so you should have finished your 2 rows. Go ahead and take your yarn marker up. We're going to do another increase round. Now you're going to do 1 single crochet into the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and then do 2 single crochet into the 4th stitch. 1, 2, and then repeat that pattern all the way around back to your yarn marker. Move your yarn marker up. Now you're going to do 1 single crochet into every stitch, and you're going to do that for 3 rows, and then come back and I'll show you what to do next. So 3 rows of 1 single crochet into every stitch. Alright, so you should have finished your 3 rows and you're all done with your German Shepherd ear. So now we're going to go ahead and do a slip stitch. You can take out your yarn marker now. You're going to go into the next stitch over, and you're going to yarn over both yarn ends and bring them through both loops on your hook for a slip stitch. And then you're going to finish off, you're going to yarn over both, turn the hook upside down, and bring them through the loop to finish off. And then just bring enough to bury into your work so it doesn't come undone. And then just pull it snugly. And then you have one of your ears done. So go ahead and make 1 more of these and then come back and I'll show you how to sew them onto the German Shepherd head. So before we sew the ears on, I just want to show you how I decorated with the black yarn around the eyes. And you just take your tapestry needle, and I doubled up the yarn. So I'm working with 2 yarn lapped over, and I'm going to start from the inside of the eye and go in and out, and you want to make sure that you're equal. Let's see if I can get, yeah, there we go. You want to be equal with the other eye. And don't worry about the little fuzz that comes out. You can always just pull that away later. So once you come out, you're going to go back down through where you came out and across to the edge of the eye. You can see how I have it equal on both sides. And then you're going to come down again through the inside, the inner eye, and come out in the same place as there. And then you're going to make, you made this loop here, and then you're going to make the little tiny crease on the side of the eye. And you want to kind of go up on the crease. And then come back towards the inner eye. And then go ahead and cut the yarn enough to bury into your work and to tie a knot. And then tie a knot in your other one, and then come back and I'll show you how to bury these loose yarn ends. Now you just take your loose yarn end on your tapestry needle, and then you just take and go through where you came out, and you can come out anywhere on the body, and then just cut that loose yarn end. Go ahead and bury all of your loose yarn end, and then come back and I'll show you how to do the center of the head design. So now I'm going to do the diamond on the top of the head, and I'm going to double up my yarn again on my tapestry needle, and I'm going to center where I want to have the diamond, and I think I want to have the diamond about right here. So that's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows down, and then I'm going to come up to the top of where I want the diamond with my tapestry needle. Make sure you leave enough yarn end to tie your knot, and then you're going to come back down into where you went in, and then you're going to go to the side for the first part of the diamond, and then come back down, and then go to the second side of the diamond, and make sure that you have the same amount of stitches between. And then I'm going to come up in the middle of one of these angles right here. And I need some more yarn, so I'm going to go ahead and get some more yarn. And then you can just go ahead and just fill in your diamond, and then bury your loose yarn ends, and then come back and we'll see the finished diamond. Okay, so I finished the diamond decoration. You can see how mine looks so far. And now we're just going to go ahead and sew the ears on. You should have both of your ears completed. We're going to do an inner ear, and for mine I'm going to use the black yarn for the inner ear. And the first thing we're going to do is a slip knot. So you're just going to fold your yarn over on itself to form a loop. And I'm still using my J crochet hook. And then I'm going to hold it with my middle finger and thumb at the base of the loop, yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through that loop for your slip knot. Now you're going to chain 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You're going to do a single crochet in the second chain from the hook. So you're going to go into that second chain from the hook. You're going to bring up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and go through both for a single crochet. Now we're going to do a half double crochet into the next stitch. So you're going to yarn over, you're going to go into the next stitch, you're going to bring up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and go through all 3 for a half double crochet. Then you're going to yarn over, you're going to go into the next stitch, you're going to bring up a loop, you're going to yarn over and go through 2 loops left on your hook, yarn over and go through 2 for a double crochet, and then you're going to do another double crochet in the next stitch, and then you're going to do 1 more double crochet in the next stitch, and then you're going to do a half double crochet, yarn over, go into the next stitch, bring up a loop, yarn over and go through all 3 for half double crochet, and then you're going to do a single crochet in that last stitch. And then you're going to finish off, yarn over and just pull enough yarn to sew the inner ear onto the outer ear. So go ahead and make 2 of these, and then we'll sew them onto our ears. Now just take your tapestry needle and put it onto the end that you left long for sewing, and take your ear, and you're just going to sew the inner ear onto the outer ear. Just make sure that you only go through one side, don't go all the way through to the other side. And to do that, you just go in and out with your tapestry needle. And you just sew the ear into place. So go ahead and sew both inner ears onto both of your outer ears, and then come back and we'll sew the ears onto the head. Alright, so now you're going to take your tapestry needle, and I'm using the black yarn to sew on the ears. And I use the magic circle in the center as my guide. And you can see how I sewed one ear on already. I just went 2 over and then lined up the ear. And I went back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stitches, the 8th stitch over to sew on that ear. Now you're just going to line up your next ear after you've sewn that on. Make sure it's even with the other ear. And then you're going to count over the 2 rows, and then you're just going to go in with your tapestry needle and then come up through the ear. Make sure you leave a long enough end for sewing and burying into your work, and then you're just going to line up how you want the ear to sit, and then you're just going to go in and then up with the tapestry needle and then just sew the ear on. So go ahead and sew your ear on and then come back and I'll show you what to do next. Once you're done sewing your ears on, you're going to want to take your loose yarn ends on your tapestry needle and just go in to where you tied your knot and then out anywhere on the body or the head, and then just cut your loose yarn ends. So go ahead and bury all of your loose yarn ends and then come back. You should have your ears sewn on now. So now we're going to make the hat. We're going to make a square for the hat, and what you're going to do first is just fold the yarn over to form a loop, and you're just going to use the blue yarn that you chose for the police hat, and then just hold the bottom of the loop with your middle finger and thumb, and then yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and then go through that loop for your slip knot. Now you're going to chain 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then you're going to chain 1 and then go into the second chain from the hook. You're going to bring up a loop, 2 loops on the hook, going to yarn over and go through those loops for a single crochet. And then you're going to single crochet all the way back to the beginning. And then come back and I'll show you what to do next. After you've done a single crochet into the last stitch, you chain 1 and then turn, and you can see how there's a little loop at the base of that first chain 1 that you did before turning. You're not going to work into there. You're going to work into the next stitch, and you're just going to keep doing single crochets into every stitch and then chaining 1 and then going to the next row to form a square. We're going to finish the square, but first I wanted to show you, you're going to make the sides exactly the same way. So this one has 5 rows, so you're going to need 4 of these. And here you can see where I did the star on one. This is the one that's going to go in the front. And I'm going to go ahead, you're going to need 4 of these, but first let's finish the square, and then after I finish the square I'll show you how to finish off, and then you can make the 4 sides. When you finish 10 rows of single crochet, then we're going to finish off. Just yarn over and go through your loop and bring enough yarn for sewing the squares together and the sides. So you're going to need 2 of these, and then you're going to need 4 of these, and then we're going to sew everything together and stuff it, and then you can put your little star for the front. Now you should have 2 squares, one for the top and for the bottom, and then 4 of the rectangular crochet for the sides. And we're going to go ahead and sew on the sides. I'm going to go ahead and sew the front on first, and I have my tapestry needle on one of the squares. I'm just going to line it up, and then I'm going to take my tapestry needle and just go in and out on the superficial stitch, and then just sew the 2 sides together. So go ahead and sew the sides around the square and then come back, and then I'll show you how to sew the bottom square on. Alright, so you should have all of your sides sewn on to the top square, and all your loose yarn ends should be towards the inside, so we could tuck those in, and then you're going to sew the bottom on and just leave one side open, sew the other 3 sides, and then we'll stuff it and close it. Okay, so you can see how it's looking. Now I've got everything sewed together except for the back side, and I went ahead and stuffed it. So now you can go ahead and close it, sew it shut, and then bury your loose yarn ends. Now for the front bill of the hat, we're going to use the black color, and we're going to do a magic circle. So you're going to drape the yarn against your 4 fingers and then wrap it around your 2 middle fingers twice, and then hold it with your thumb and your pinky. Then you're just going to take and bring up a loop and yarn over and go through that loop for your slip knot, and then do 6 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then take your 4-finger and thumb and hold at the base of those 6 single crochet, and then you're just going to close the magic circle like you've done before. And then you're going to do 2 single crochet into, actually, you're not going to do that this time. This time, you're going to chain 1. So you're going to chain 1, and then turn your work, and then you're going to do a single crochet into the same stitch. And then you're going to do 2 single crochet into every stitch. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then this 1, 2, and you can see how you're creating a bill. So now we're just going to leave this side unworked. You're going to chain 1, and then you're going to do another single crochet in the same stitch, and then you're going to do 2 single crochet back, 1, 2, so 2 single crochet into every stitch back, and you can see how you're making this nice bill that's going to go on your hat, and then you have the straight line there. So now we're going to do one more round, so do 1, chain 1, and then turn, and then just do 1 single crochet in every stitch back across, and then come back. So this is how your work should look. Now you're going to go ahead and finish off. So you just yarn over, and then just bring enough yarn through to sew the bill onto your hat. Now you're just going to line up your bill with the bottom of the hat, and then just sew it onto the square. And then just sew right along the bottom of the hat until it's sewn in place. And for my dog, I decided I'm just going to sew my hat into place. And so on the back, I just sewed the 2 sides to the ears, and then I'm going to bury my loose yarn ends. Now you're going to make the side strip that goes on the sides of the eyes. So I'm going to show you how to do that. You just take your black yarn, and then you're going to fold it over to form a loop because we're going to do a slip knot. And then take your middle finger and thumb at the base of the loop, then yarn over and pull the yarn through the loop for your slip knot, and then you're going to chain 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then you're going to chain 1 and then go into the second chain from the hook, and then you're going to bring up a loop for a single crochet, sorry. Then yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through both loops for a single crochet, and then you're going to go ahead and do a single crochet all the way back across. And then you're going to do a single crochet into the last stitch, and then you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and do a single crochet all the way back across. And then you're going to go ahead and just finish off, and then pull enough yarn through to sew onto your work. And then you're just going to take your tapestry needle onto the end for sewing, and then you're going to sew the strip exactly the same as you did on one side on the other side, and then come back and we'll see the finished product. I decided to go ahead and get some black yarn, and I just embroidered this triangle and stripe down the center. I just thought it looked cuter, so you can do that or not with your German Shepherd, but I just wanted to show you how I did that. Now I'm going to show you how to make the sunglasses, and you're going to need your craft wire to do that, and also I'm using my Red Heart Super Saver, and this color is Soft Navy Marine DOUX. The first thing you want to do is just take your craft wire and you want to measure how much you're going to need, and you can see how it kind of fits through between the hat and the ear, and you just kind of loop it around. And how I did that was I folded over the craft wire on itself and twisted the end, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So on this side I've already measured where I want it to loop, so I'm just going to take the end of the craft wire and just twist it around. And then we're going to crochet over this, so just make sure that that end is settled so it doesn't poke out. And then you're just going to measure the craft wire on your dog. You can just kind of fit that end that you curled up on itself around the ear, and then you're just going to bring the front is where you're going to put the circle for the sunglass, and I want the center loop here, so just make sure you have enough loop for around the ears to hold on, because we don't want the glasses to be permanently on the dog. So just measure the ends and make sure you have enough to where we can put the circle for the sunglasses. So that looks like it's pretty good. So just make sure that you have enough that will loop and hold the sunglasses in place when we're done, and then come back and I'll show you how to crochet over the craft wire. Now you're going to take the yarn that you're going to use to cover the craft wire, and you're going to fold it over on itself because we're going to do a slip knot. Then just take your crochet hook, I'm still using the J crochet hook, and then just hold the base of the loop with your middle finger and thumb, and then yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through that loop for a slip knot. And then you're going to go ahead and chain 2. 1, 2. Then you're going to take your craft wire and then just place it right over the chain 2 that you just created. And then you're going to go under that craft wire and you're going to bring up a loop. Then you have 2 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and go through both for a single crochet. And we're going to do single crochet all the way across the craft wire. So you're going to go under the craft wire, you're going to bring up a loop. You have 2 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and go through both for a single crochet. And you can even kind of bend your craft wire a little, fold it on itself to hold the yarn as you do your single crochet across the whole craft wire. So I'm going to do a couple more with you. Go under the craft wire, bring up a loop, and then you're going to yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through both loops for a single crochet. And you can move the single crochet down to cover the craft wire as you work. Good. So go ahead and finish doing single crochet all the way across to the end of your craft wire until it's completely covered, and then come back and I'll show you what to do next. Once you've completely covered your craft wire, then you can go ahead and finish off. You just yarn over and then just pull enough yarn through to bury into your work. So I'm going to pull a little bit extra. And then I just folded the loop over on the yarn like that. Now just take your tapestry needle and you can take and just sew the hook or the loop that you folded over on itself onto the ends so it's nice and secure. And then once you're done, just tie a knot. And then once you've tied your knot, you can bury your loose yarn end into the work. And then just cut the loose yarn end. And just do that for both sides. And then I'll show you how to do the circles for the shades. Now we're going to make the circle for the shades. So you're just going to get your black yarn and you're going to start with a magic circle. You're going to drape the yarn across your 4 fingers and use your thumb to stabilize, and then just wrap it twice around your 2 middle fingers and hold it in place with your pinky and thumb. And then I'm using my J crochet hook. Just go under those 2 loops around the middle fingers and you're going to bring up a loop. And then you're going to yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through that loop for your slip knot. Now you're going to do 6 single crochet into the magic circle. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then you take your 4-finger and thumb and just hold it at the base of those 6 single crochet. And then you're going to take one of your loops on the opposite side to close. If it doesn't close, then of course you grab the other one. but this one's closing, so you just close it loosely. And then take your loose yarn in and pull on that. Now you're going to do 2 single crochet into every stitch around. So go into every stitch and just do 2 single crochet for a total of 12 and then come back. Now you can see that you still have a little bit, you may still have a little bit of a little hole in the center, so you just turn it over and pull on the loose yarn end to close it up. Then grab your yarn marker. We're going to do 1 increase round. So you're going to do 1 single crochet into the next stitch. And then in the second stitch, you're going to do 2 single crochet in the same stitch. And you're going to do that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker and then come back. Now we're going to do a slip stitch into the next stitch. Just yarn over and bring the yarn through both loops on your hook for a slip stitch. And then you're going to finish off. You're going to yarn over and then go through that loop and bring enough yarn through to sew the circle onto your sunglasses. Now we want to put the sunglasses onto the head before we sew on the black frames. So just fold this in half and then take and put the ends around the dog ears and shape the glasses how you want them onto the dog. Then you just shape your sunglasses and sew on the shades. And you can see how it loops into the back around the ears, and they're removable.